that moment, Yiksha on the Great Snow Mountain raised an eyebrow at the abruptly appearing dark realm. Isolating yourself from the outside world so you won't be affected by my illusory sound barrier? Indeed, a clever method. He placed the tuning fork to his lips and said with a smile, but do you plan to hide like this for the rest of your lives? Maharaja stomped his foot hard onto the ground. In the next instant, the entire earth began to tremble violently. Boom! The ground shattered into massive chunks of earth and rock. Maharaja's body swelled, his gray eyes blazing with an eerie, sinister light. Snap! His garments tore apart as his body extended like a worm. In an instant, his lower half transformed into a black-patterned Orochi snake measuring hundreds of meters in length. Roar! The head of the Orochi snake remained his human form. After emitting a sinister roar from its maw, he leapt down from the Great Snow Mountain, crawling toward the vast dark realm. Yiksha slowly sat up straight, holding a tuning fork in each hand. He began striking them together mid-air. Clang! The sound radiated outward from the Great Snow Mountain in all directions. As long as Zhang Yi and Liang Yu remained within its reach, they could not escape it. Within the dark realm, Zhang Yi addressed Liang Yu, from this moment on, eliminate anything that appears beside you, even if it's me. Liang Yu stared at Zhang Yi and slowly nodded. She wasn't worried about accidentally harming Zhang Yi. Because someone as powerful and cautious as Zhang Yi was simply beyond her reach. Good. Zhang Yi murmured softly. The next moment, the dark realm dissolved. Zhang Yi immediately sealed off all sound, scent, and light with his tactical helmet, then opened a dimensional gate and soared skyward. Simultaneously, he used the nebula satellite to pinpoint the temple's location atop the Great Snow Mountain. Zhang Yi shot upward, the divine refinement manifesting as two silver rifles in his hands. If I can't pinpoint it with my eyes, then why not just obliterate the entire area? The next instant, he pulled the trigger. A relentless barrage of bullets erupted from the muzzles of the divine refinement. Yiksha sensed a terrifying surge of energy and instinctively looked up at the sky. The next instant, it was as if a meteor shower erupted in broad daylight. The entire sky became a dense, swirling curtain of bullets, howling toward him. Yiksha rose from the temple's summit, his face alight with excitement. Then, with a forceful clash of his tuning forks, an even more powerful sonic wave detonated. A ringing sound filled the air as the sound waves transformed into razor-sharp blades, spreading across the sky and sweeping forward. These were blades of pure sound, yet they carried the most unadulterated intent to kill. However, the moment these sound blades touched Zhang Yi's supernatural bullets, they all disintegrated. Boom! Like a meteor shower crashing down, Zhang Yi's barrage completely blanketed the peak of the Great Snow Mountain. The dense hail of bullets leveled the entire snow-capped mountain. Whoosh! A blurred afterimage scrambled down the Great Snow Mountain in disarray. Yiksha's combat suit was fully donned, yet it was already slashed with countless gashes, blood trickling down his feet. Gritting his teeth, his eyes held disbelief. As a black charioteer mutant, his ability index soared to 22,000 points, ranking among the top masters in all of Brahma. Yet an entity of his caliber had been beaten to a pulp in a single strike by this Huashu Kingdom mutant. What was most terrifying was that this wasn't a single target attack, it was an area of effect assault covering the entire Great Snow Mountain. While reduced energy density inevitably diminished its potency, it still shattered his sound barrier and struck his physical form. Who is this guy? Who is he? Yiksha screamed the question, and the intelligent system embedded in his combat suit immediately responded. Based on the demonstrated abilities and power level, the only qualified candidate from Huashu Kingdom is the mutant codenamed Chaos. Preliminary assessment indicates his mutant ability index exceeds 28,000 points. Hearing this, Yiksha's eyes widened, his pupil shrinking to the size of grains of rice. 28,000. Impossible. Didn't Huashu Kingdom just endure a major battle where all the peak-tier mutants were gravely injured? But he doesn't look injured at all. The intelligent system could only respond, it appears our intelligence contained inaccuracies. Yiksha roared, inaccuracies. You make it sound so simple, but this is putting my life on the line. The intelligence system couldn't provide an answer, for they too had only made the most reasonable judgment based on existing intelligence. But Zhang Yi himself was an anomaly. Zhang Yi, towering above, locked onto the fleeing Yiksha and pulled the trigger again without hesitation. Bullets rained down like a torrential storm. Yiksha moved with blinding speed, his form nearly impossible to track with the naked eye. But Zhang Yi didn't need to know his exact location. Simply saturating the entire area with fire meant even the slightest graze from his barrage would inflict critical damage. The sheer disparity in power meant Zhang Yi didn't need to exert himself. Yet Yiksha appeared utterly disheveled, scrambling desperately for escape, lacking even the faintest courage to resist. 22,000 against 28,000? Only with absolute intelligence and overwhelming advantages in timing and terrain could there be a sliver of possibility to fight back. In an encounter battle, there was simply no contest. Zhang Yi's barrage instantly swept across a vast area. Yiksha frantically vibrated the tuning forks in his hands. His tone and rhythm sync ability could form lethal attacks using sound waves, but now he used it solely to defend against Zhang Yi's indiscriminate attack. Yet this proved ineffective. Soon, his tone and rhythm sync was completely swallowed by Zhang Yi's bullets. Gradually, Zhang Yi made his assessment. His ability activates through sound, so light won't be an issue. That makes things easier. Zhang Yi surveyed the scene below from high above, lowering the divine refinement in his left hand while raising the one in his right to aim downward. The power of the void coalesced in his palm, then concentrated within the divine refinement's ammunition chamber. The significance of using firearms lies in gathering immense energy matter into one point, then igniting and releasing it instantaneously. For a considerable time, the development pace of Zhang Yi's firearms had lagged behind his own power growth. His overwhelming strength could even warp and destroy metal. But now, with the divine refinement boasting maxed out strength and toughness, this problem was perfectly resolved. Power of the void continuously condensed within the divine refinement. That near-destructive force slowly stirred excitement within Zhang Yi's heart. Meanwhile, Yiksha, still fleeing for his life, felt an icy chill run through his body. He blasted through the great snow mountain and desperately plunged underground. Zhang Yi's expression remained cold as he pinpointed the demon's approximate location, then pulled the trigger. Boom! A terrifying black beam roared from the muzzle, plunging toward the earth like a black dragon. In an instant, it crashed into the great snow mountain. In the next instant, the great snow mountain split apart as if made of paper. Centered on the great snow mountain, the earth cracked and split for dozens of miles around. A terrifying force surged skyward, carrying the shattered earth with it. Black light engulfed everything within dozens of miles. Everything within that radius was reduced to dust. Yiksha's body, stripped of its cover, was hurled away like discarded trash. Blood poured profusely from his mouth. His speed had been immense, he was still kilometers from the explosion's epicenter, yet the shockwave alone had left him gravely wounded. You! His body slammed into the earth, eyes fixed on Zhang Yi in the sky, filled with utter disbelief. Meanwhile, in another direction, Maharaga had locked horns with Liang Yu. His power allowed him to transform into a colossal serpent demon, controlling the earth and underground volcanoes. Wherever he passed, the earth shattered, trembled, and closed in, while he could also ignite underground fires to attack. This made him an extremely difficult opponent for Liang Yu, an enhancement type. Because once detached from the ground, enhancement-type mutants found it difficult to exert their power. While Liang Yu was still entangled with him, Maharaga suddenly received a distress signal from Yiksha. His heart tightened instantly. Yiksha was considerably stronger than him. If even Yiksha couldn't handle this opponent, he feared he'd be powerless too. Yet, he possessed one ability Yiksha could only dream of, the earth-walking technique. He could burrow deep into the earth. This power alone made him untraceable by many stronger mutants. They had an agreement: should they encounter an overwhelming foe, Maharaga would lead Yiksha to safety. Maharaga knew Yiksha was reckless with danger. His plea for help signaled a truly desperate situation. His massive form writhed frantically beneath the earth, swimming toward Yiksha's location. Within the hard earth and rock, he moved with the agility of a fish in water. Seeing this, Liangyu crouched down, sensing the receding vibrations. Her eyes immediately turned cold as she raised her sword and gave chase. Maharaga's colossal form traversed beneath the earth, soon arriving beneath Yiksha to catch him. Cough. 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 Yiksha coughed up blood in great gulps. He hadn't even been struck directly by Zhang Yi's attack, it was merely Zhang Yi's excessive caution that led him to choose a long-range, wide-area assault. Yet even the mere brushing of the attack's aftereffects had left him gravely wounded. Yiksha, how did you end up like this? Maharaga spoke as he burrowed deeper into the earth. Though he didn't understand what had happened, he knew fleeing immediately was our best option. That man is one of Huashu Kingdom's foremost warriors. His strength far surpasses both of us. We are no match for him. Damn it. The intelligence they gave us was wrong. The Huashu Kingdom still has intact powerhouses. Let's go. Boom. Maharaga now grasped the gravity of the situation. Daring not to delay, he swiftly swam deeper into the earth. Zhang Yi hovered high above, gazing down at the immense abyss below with eyes as cold as snow. Swish. Liangyu arrived at the scene, her brows furrowing at the sight before her. Earth travel technique? They won't escape. I said they must die, and die they shall. Zhang Yi declared coldly. He activated the everything under heaven, swiftly carrying Liangyu underground. Yet upon entering the underground realm, he was stunned. Due to Maharaga's activities, vast caverns now crisscrossed the underground, making it impossible to determine which passage he had taken. Clearly, the opponent had anticipated Zhang Yi would track his location through the underground tunnels. Zhang Yi furrowed his brow slightly before querying the intelligence system. Can you pinpoint their location? The intelligence system delivered a disappointing response. The target has penetrated deep underground and is moving at excessive speeds. With our current capabilities, we cannot accurately determine their precise position. Liangyu spoke up then, let me handle this. Zhang Yi glanced at Liangyu, who offered a faint smile. Never underestimate the perception of a martial arts grandmaster. After speaking, Liangyu closed her eyes, entering a state of meditation. In this state of unity with heaven and earth, her mind reached a stillness akin to a calm lake, her senses becoming hyperacute to the surrounding world. Soon, she detected faint ripples within the surrounding darkness. Within her meditative realm, those ripples grew increasingly distinct. Liangyu's eyes snapped open. Found them. Zhang Yi immediately grabbed her hand. Guide us. Liangyu pointed her right hand toward the left front. Without hesitation, Zhang Yi activated his Space Shuffle ability. Maharaga moved swiftly, yet even the fastest speed couldn't surpass traversal that ignored spatial distance. Liangyu guided the path while Zhang Yi tracked their target. Soon, the cavern ahead became clear and singular. Moving beneath the earth, Maharaga inevitably left behind massive passages. Found you. A cold smile flickered in Zhang Yi's eyes. Yet he held back from acting immediately. Striking underground would only see his power weakened by the thick layers of earth and rock. At their current speed, catching up would be swift enough. No! They're catching up. Yiksha's expression darkened instantly. As a mutant master of sound manipulation, he possessed extraordinary sensitivity to auditory cues. Even from a great distance, he could sense the rhythmic vibrations emanating from the earth. Golden light suddenly erupted from Maharaga's eyes. He opened his mouth and let out a deep, resonant roar. Boom! The surrounding earth shook violently. Zhang Yi and Liangyu were in pursuit when suddenly, the world before them became blindingly bright. Golden magma surged from the earth's depths, hurtling straight toward their faces. Zhang Yi narrowed his eyes slightly. His tactical visor blocked the intense light. Though the magma appeared dangerous, it was entirely swallowed by dimensional space. Zhang Yi pressed forward relentlessly, ignoring the attack. Such an assault held no meaning for him. The earth trembled. Maharaga, the master of the earth's dominion, could control the earth's layers and even trigger volcanic eruptions. Yet, even beneath his uniquely favored earth, such a physical attack could not threaten Zhang Yi in the slightest. The gap between a white chariot and a bishop level was like a chasm. They're getting closer. Yiksha suddenly issued a dangerous warning. Maharaga's gaze grew exceptionally grave. Sweat beaded on his forehead as the threat of death drew ever closer. He was forced to adopt a serpentine path beneath the earth, constantly shifting his position. He unleashed his power to cause violent tremors in the earth's crust, attempting to disrupt Zhang Yi and Liang Yu's pursuit. Yet such crude tactics proved utterly ineffective against Zhang Yi and Liang Yu. Yiksha sensed a colossal demon king's shadow looming behind him, poised to devour them whole. He raised both tuning forks high, then smashed them together with brutal force. Clang! The musical vibrations erupted outward in all directions, yet no matter how many times he deployed the illusory sound barrier, it proved ineffective. Illusions, though formidable, had their limitations. They could serve as a trump card, capable of producing astonishing results at critical moments. But once the opponent was prepared, they became difficult to execute. Zhang Yi and Liang Yu had long used their tactical gear to block external sounds, communicating solely through electronic devices. Thus, Yiksha's illusions could no longer take effect. Gritting his teeth, blood trickling from the corners of his mouth, Yiksha rode Maharaga in a desperate, frantic gallop. The earth shattered around them as the god of death closed in relentlessly behind. The tuning forks in his hands suddenly shifted angles, crossing behind him in a cross formation before clashing violently. A bone-chilling sound instantly reverberated outward, targeting the rear. Tone and rhythm sync. The shockwave struck, though Zhang Yi and Liang Yu couldn't hear it. Yet suddenly, Liang Yu's face paled, and a muffled groan escaped her lips. A trickle of blood slowly flowed from the corner of her mouth. Zhang Yi's eyes narrowed sharply at the sight. Liang Yu, what's wrong? The intelligence system alerted Zhang Yi, warning, warning. Undergoing sonic attack from unknown source. Zhang Yi felt no attack, yet the intelligence system alerted him. Liang Yu said to Zhang Yi, he must have used some special technique to strike directly at my internal organs. I'm in terrible pain now. Her combat suit automatically injected medication into her system. Zhang Yi frowned. Why is she hurt while I'm unharmed? The intelligence system replied, the attack targeting you was blocked by your divine refinement outer garment. Zhang Yi looked down at his dark silver battle armor. The outermost layer was woven from strands of divine refinement plant fiber. It possessed extraordinary strength and flexibility, capable of absorbing the vast majority of attacks directed at Zhang Yi. Ding! Ding! Yiksha's attacks kept coming. Tone and rhythm sync was an attack with extreme penetrating power. It could pierce through armor, combat suits, and even skin, directly causing resonance within the human body's internal organs, then tearing them apart. Were it not for the divine refinement shielding him, Zhang Yi might have fallen victim, though, of course, everything follows the trail would have warned him 2 seconds beforehand. Realizing this, Zhang Yi immediately extended more vines from the divine refinement, enveloping Liang Yu's body as well. Plants possessed excellent tolerance for absorbing such sonic waves, and divine refinement had no fear of destruction. As long as its core remained intact and Zhang Yi's supernatural output continued, it could regenerate infinitely. Yiksha's attacks proved ineffective. Within 5 seconds, Zhang Yi had closed the distance to about 5 kilometers. Zhang Yi drew his weapon. Terrifying black power of the void swirled within the dark vortex, coalescing onto the dark silver spear. After a brief charge, the spiraling black energy caused a swirling black smoke to rise from the entire spear body. The approaching Maharaga and Yiksha both paled. The overwhelming sense of impending death sent a chill through their limbs. Run! Yiksha shouted urgently at the Maharaga beneath him. In that moment, the Maharaga pushed his earth travel ability to its absolute limit, diving frantically downward. Star-piercing cannon. Zhang Yi's voice was icy as he spoke, then pulled the trigger. A torrent of pitch-black energy erupted from the muzzle of the divine refinement rifle. This time, however, it wasn't a slender black thread. Instead, it roared like a dragon's cry, a black death beam engulfing an inverted cone-shaped area. Beneath the earth, visibility vanished. Maharaga's speed was indeed formidable. This was his domain. Zhang Yi held no inherent advantage. His soul edge amounted to a mere 10,000 points lead in ability index. Thus, he opted for indiscriminate assault. Any flashy ability proved meaningless against an absolute power disparity. This strike instantly caused all earth and rock ahead to be swallowed by the void. The black light pierced through everything unimpeded, enveloping the area where Yiksha and Maharaga stood in an instant. The terror was written clearly on both their faces. Yiksha, unwilling to fall so easily, frantically vibrated his tuning fork. Clang! His hands blurred into afterimages from the rapid strikes, soundwave energy radiating forward in overlapping layers like advancing waves. Yet before the black light closed in, these cascading sonic waves couldn't even delay the onslaught for an instant, they were devoured cleanly. Zhang Yi and Liang Yu gazed at the vast underground cavern that had been carved open before them, arriving at its very front through a space shuffle. Then he saw the pitiful corpse lying on the ground. Yiksha's upper body had been completely devoured by the power of the void, leaving only its lower half encased in rock. Not far away lay more biological tissue, also encased in rock. Zhang Yi's strike had been brutal, it had nearly shattered Yiksha's origin. Fortunately, he now possessed a specially crafted metal container capable of storing origins of mutants. He swiftly gathered the essence and cast it into the dimensional space. What about the other one? Is it dead? Zhang Yi observed the massive biological fragments on the ground, which resembled petrified segments of a giant Orochi snake's remains. Liang Yu closed her eyes briefly before opening them and replying, "No, it fled deeper into the mountain." Like a pesky earthworm, quite irritating indeed. Zhang Yi smiled faintly. "No rush. We'll pursue it slowly." Seeing Zhang Yi's utterly unhurried demeanor, Liang Yu couldn't help but ask curiously, "Zhang Yi, aren't you worried it might cross the Great Snow Mountains and escape back to Brahma?" Zhang Yi turned to glance at Liang Yu, offering a faint smile. "Isn't that precisely what I want to see?" Liang Yu's eyes widened slowly. Only now did she truly grasp what Zhang Yi intended. Merely eliminating the invaders from Brahma wouldn't satisfy his ambitions. What he sought was to use this as a pretext, to march directly into Brahma's territory and teach those arrogant fools a harsh lesson. Brahma's strength shouldn't be underestimated. This could be dangerous. Zhang Yi nodded. If their fully prepared encounter with all their might, it would indeed be a risky move. But I suspect none of them anticipated me appearing here. Not only did I slaughter every mutant they sent, I'm now counterattacking their very stronghold. Zhang Yi's left thumb snapped against his index and middle fingers, producing two crisp cracks. And it's not that I look down on them. In my current state, I alone could turn the entire Brahma upside down. For at this moment, Zhang Yi was already a bishop-level mutant with an ability index soaring to 30,000 points. He continued pursuing Maharaga. This time, Zhang Yi didn't rush to kill him, instead letting Maharaga flee like a startled bird toward the territory of Brahma. Maharaga was utterly terrified, his heart filled with regret for participating in this invasion of Huashu Kingdom. Feeling the relentless pressure of the divine might closing in behind him, his blood ran cold and his mind went blank. The acute sense of mortal peril left him no room for rational thought, only one clear impulse: flee. Yes, flee. If he could just escape back to the territory of Brahma, then given the Huashu Kingdom's current state, they would surely dare not escalate the conflict between the two nations. The 8 tribes of Brahma were now intact, holding a massive advantage against the Huashu Kingdom's severely depleted supernatural forces. No matter how he thought about it, the chaos forces behind him would never dare pursue him into Brahma's territory. Moreover, their supernatural troops for this operation, Yiksha, had perished, and every other elite member had undoubtedly died there as well. Such a price should be enough to make the Huashu kingdom know when to quit. With this thought, a glimmer of hope flickered in Maharaga's eyes. Once he crossed the border between the two nations, he would be safe. Maharaga finally breathed a sigh of relief. Sniffing hard, he seemed to still catch the delightful scent of curry mingled in the air. Safe! Maharaga thought, feeling a weight lift from his shoulders. But at that very moment, the bone-chilling cold that had gripped him from behind returned. Your feet have touched the soil of Huashu Kingdom. Today, no matter where you flee, you must die for me. Hearing this voice, Maharaga felt the blood freeze in his veins. Turning, he saw Zhang Yi, his gaze as cold as death itself. Stunned, he roared, I've already fled back to Brahma. Why are you still pursuing me? Don't you fear sparking war between our two nations? As he spoke, he sprinted even harder toward Brahma's borders, simultaneously using his intelligent system to send distress calls to every contact he could reach within the realm. Zhang Yi laughed outright at Maharaga's shameless words. What are you talking about? I, Chaos, am a peace-loving person. I'm just here to kill you all and then leave. If you're unhappy, I'll apologize if I have to. You can't reason with shameless people. As a former warehouse manager, Zhang Yi had dealt with all sorts of individuals and seen far too many like Maharaga. He knew exactly how to handle them. As Maharaga rapidly traversed the earth, he left a trail of gruesome bloodstains in his wake. Cursed creature! For offending the great Brahmin, you shall face the wrath of the Trimurti. Adrenaline surging through his veins, Maharaga knew Zhang Yi wouldn't let this go. Enraged, he began cursing furiously. Zhang Yi asked calmly, what exactly are the Trimurti? Brahma was a theocracy where nearly all citizens worshipped the Brahma religion. The Trimurti held a place in their hearts even greater than their own fathers. Sure enough, Maharaga flew into a rage upon hearing Zhang Yi's words. But rage didn't make him stronger. He still had Zhang Yi's rifle pointed at his back, forcing him to flee headfirst in terror. Zhang Yi fired casually, like taking a leisurely stroll, leaving one hole after another in Maharaga's body. Maharaga's heart neared despair. His distress signals had long been sent to every possible recipient. Upon receiving this news, the high command of Brahma erupted in fury. What? The Huashu kingdom dares to hunt down the 8 tribes. They are utterly despicable. Such brazen invasion of our Brahma realm territory. If we don't eliminate him here, won't everyone henceforth think Brahma is to be bullied? Today's Brahma realm is the world's foremost superpower, long surpassing their Huashu kingdom. Since he dared come, let him pay with his blood. They're finished now. We, the Brahmas, are the true kings of Asia. As for that foolhardy Chaos, let him die right here. The high-ranking officials in the hall bellowed and shouted, their faces twisted with fury. They seemed to have forgotten that it was clearly their side that had first sent troops to invade the southwest region. Activate the Reaper of Love. Kill him. Kill him without fail. They had already received intelligence from Maharaga. The mutant forces dispatched to the southwest region, including the Yiksha of the 8 tribes, had been nearly annihilated. Maharaga was the sole survivor to return, and he was currently being hunted by Chaos. The Reaper of Love was a double-edged sword. In this era of rising mutants, it could only be used as a final trump card, never casually. Immediately after, someone reported, they've reached Canon City. At this news, all eyes instinctively turned toward the city. The loss of a single city wouldn't warrant such extreme caution from so many high-ranking officials. Though Canon City is a key frontier stronghold, its true significance lies in housing the millennia-old Jugnanatha temple. As one of Brahmanism's holiest sites, legend holds that Vishnu, one of the Trimurti deities, once descended as a craftsman to personally lay its foundation. This is why it has stood undaunted for 1,000 years. That man absolutely must not be allowed to desecrate the Jugnanatha temple. Under no circumstances may the Reaper of Love be deployed against Canon City. Within the assembly hall, a white-haired general and a thick beard folded his hands on the table and spoke slowly. Chaos is one of Huashu Kingdom's top mutants. Even in Brahma, he ranks among the upper middle tier. Do not underestimate him. Since we cannot deploy the Reaper of Love, mutant matters must be resolved by mutants. Notify the 8 tribes. Have them rush to Canon City immediately. Capture him alive if possible. Maharaga, covered in blood, charged into Canon City. His body bore over 100 wounds, large and small, all gushing blood. Had he not reached the Epsilon tier, where life force ascends to a new level of potency, he would have perished long ago. At that moment, all soldiers of Canon City were assembled. They stood tall and proud, clad in full combat gear, thick cloth bands wrapped around their heads, guarding the city's gates. They knew that mutant beings from Wushu Kingdom had come to attack, yet not a trace of fear appeared on any face. Instead, their expressions were filled with rage and fierce fighting spirit. The people of the Wushu Kingdom dare come to Brahma? They're courting death. Do those pitiful little country folk not know who reigns as the mightiest nation in the world today? They must covet Brahma's strength and wealth, their greed consuming them. Yet they fail to realize that the glorious radiance of the Trimurti will strip their dark, shameful souls of every shadow in which they might hide. Every Brahmin held this conviction: Brahman was the world's mightiest nation, possessing over 40,000 years of cultural heritage as the planet's oldest civilization. After the apocalypse, under the radiance of the Trimurti, the mighty 8 tribes emerged, enabling Brahma's global supremacy. Even their high-level media constantly told them, Colombia was mired in the fiery turmoil of state-by-state power struggles, Fremons was underpopulated and insignificant, Western European nations were already dead bones in their tombs, long abandoned by the times, and the neighboring Wushu Kingdom was all bark and no bite, even weaker than it appeared. Thus, every citizen of Brahma carried pride in their hearts. Therefore, toward the intruding mutant from Wushu Kingdom, their feelings ran deeper than mere anger, they held contempt, even pity. In the city of Canon, an Epsilon-level mutant held sway. He was Karama Khan, commander of the White Elephant Army. When Maharaga, one of the 8 tribes, fled to this location, Karama Khan received word immediately. Given the proximity, Maharaga had chosen to seek refuge here. Karama Khan was a soldier nearing 50, robustly built with a prominent general's belly. Seeing Maharaga's disheveled state, he couldn't help but frown, yet his eyes betrayed an uncontrollable hint of amusement. The 8 tribes was indeed the most powerful organization of mutants in present-day Brahma. However, Brahma was a nation with a complex history, and its faith in the gods was fragmented, with numerous sects and factions. Karama Khan was not a member of the 8 tribes, yet his power was formidable enough. Seeing Maharaga humiliated, he felt a tinge of schadenfreude. Maharaga, why are you in such a sorry state? Karama Khan stepped forward, feigning ignorance as he spoke. Maharaga exclaimed anxiously, the chaos from Wushu Kingdom is hunting me down. Karama Khan, buy me some time. The 8 tribes will arrive to support me shortly. He gritted his teeth, his eyes filled with terror and rage. Chaos dares to offend the followers of the Trimurti and invade the territory of Brahma? Today, he must die here. He shall pay for his transgression with his blood. Karama Khan sneered coldly, spreading his hands. If he truly has the audacity to enter Canon City, I guarantee he will die here. Maharaga's face darkened. Don't underestimate that man. His power is formidable, even Yiksha fell by his hand. Karama Khan scoffed contemptuously. Maharaga, your courage grows ever smaller. Under the divine light, all foreign invaders shall be crushed by the righteous children of the Trimurti. Maharaga drew a deep breath. He had no desire to waste words with the arrogant Karama Khan. Due to its geographical position, Brahma had primarily clashed with smaller neighboring states throughout the 3 years of the apocalypse. The vast Himalayan mountain range separating it from Wushu Kingdom had prevented large-scale conflicts from erupting. Thus, within the South Asian region, Brahma faced virtually no rivals. He lifted his gaze toward the distance, where northwest of Canon City, atop the sacred mountain, stood the millennia-old Jugnanatha temple. Like the southwest region, Brahma practiced theocracy, with over 1 billion devotees nationwide. Thus, they could draw upon greater power from faith. Maharaja immediately charged toward the Jugnanatha temple, seeking the faith power of the Trimurti to save himself. Karama Khan gazed at the battered Orochi snake, a flicker of contempt in his eyes. The 8 tribes? Utterly laughable. The glory of Brahma is sullied by you pretenders. He thrust out his potbelly and bellowed to his commanders, every single one of you, sharpen your senses. Today, anyone, no matter whoever dares to appear near the holy city, kill them all. Yes. The resounding shouts echoed around Karama Khan, every face brimming with conviction. At that moment, Zhang Yi finally arrived, bringing Lian Yu with him, though rather late. Upon learning that Maharaja had fled toward Canon City, Zhang Yi specifically asked Yang Xinxin about any notable features of the place. After all, Brahma possessed a long history, perhaps there were things worth bringing back for study. Yang Xinxin promptly responded. Canon City is renowned as one of the 3 sacred cities of the Brahma faith. Their Jugnanatha temple is said to have a history exceeding 40,000 years. Legend has it that prehistoric stone slates were once discovered within the temple, inscribed with cuneiform script detailing tales of a lost civilization. Brother, if possible, just bring that entire temple back with you. Zhang Yi replied, all right. Since we're already here, we might as well make the most of it. Zhang Yi had just finished his call with Yang Xinxin when he promptly received greetings from the Xinjiang region. Meng Yuanjun sat in his office, rubbing his temples with a look of helplessness. Chaos, you've gone to Brahma? Zhang Yi chuckled, yes, is there a problem? Meng Yuanjun was utterly speechless. At any other time, it wouldn't be an issue. Huashu Kingdom's strength isn't afraid of conflict with them. But at this particular moment, Huashu Kingdom had just endured a major war, its vitality severely depleted. It was indeed reluctant to provoke another conflict with a major power. Zhang Yi raised an eyebrow, smiling faintly. I did warn you when I took action. If I had to intervene, things could have escalated significantly. You should have been prepared for that. Meng Yuanjun shrugged helplessly and chuckled, all right, though things have unfolded somewhat unexpectedly, but, a cold gleam flashed in his eyes. Even if you really have done it, it doesn't matter. What's important is that you protect yourself. Zhang Yi gave a faint smile. No problem. I understand perfectly well. After ending the call, Meng Yuanjun leaned back in his chair and rubbed his fingers. Then he couldn't help but chuckle. Chaos, Zhang Yi. What an utterly unpredictable fellow. He propped his legs up on the desk. Blood returning to the body always brought a sense of ease, which was why many people like to elevate their feet while sleeping. But seeing things unfold this way is genuinely delightful. In this apocalyptic world stripped of order, should the Brahma dare launch a full-scale war, wouldn't it be perfectly justified for the Huashu Kingdom, holding the moral high ground, to unleash a wave of Reaper of Love to purge the land? Chaos, don't let us down. Go on a proper rampage. Meng Yuanjun murmured with a smile, his heart brimming with anticipation. In the Jiangnan region, Zhu Jin contacted Zhang Yi, if you need our long-range support, just ask. The relationship between Zhu Zheng and Zhang Yi was exceedingly delicate. Though he resented Zhang Yi's dominance over him, he still required Zhang Yi's strength to maintain peace in the Jiangnan region. Thus, when facing external threats, he did not hesitate to deploy the Reaper of Love. Understood. My sincere gratitude, Commander Zhu. Zhang Yi replied with a smile. Since arriving in Canon City, he had received numerous calls from high-ranking officials across all major regions. Without exception, their stance was clear, they would provide unlimited support for his current operation. Rarely did Zhang Yi feel a flicker of warmth in his heart. He gazed at the grim city of Canon, already sensing the thick tension in the air from afar. Upon the city walls, squadrons of Brahma soldiers stood at the ready. Zhang Yi narrowed his eyes, recalling the devastation witnessed in the southwest region. To subjugate its people, the Brahma forces had also slaughtered countless civilians. Facing them, Zhang Yi would show no mercy. Lian Yu, anyone found carrying any sword today will be treated as a combatant. Lian Yu's eyes flashed with cold resolve as she silently nodded. War had now been declared. Zhang Yi had his own principles, he would not harm innocent civilians. But anyone who raised a weapon against him would be treated as a combatant. Those who entered this war must be prepared to die. Let's go! Zhang Yi's form vanished instantly from his original spot. The next moment, he appeared high above the entire Canon city, looking down from above upon the sacred city of Brahma. Karama Khan and the other mutants sensed Zhang Yi's presence, for he made no effort to conceal his immense power. His appearance in the sky caused the entire expanse to dim. All eyes looked up to see a massive black vortex slowly unfolding beneath the heavens, like a drop of thick ink splashed into a pool, spreading rapidly. The black vortex covered nearly the entire sky above Canon City. Its terrifying power made many soldiers break out in a cold sweat. A demon! Is that the demon from the Huashu kingdom? Some soldiers began to pray. Karama Khan witnessed this scene, a maniacal grin spreading across his face. Is this the chaos of Huashu kingdom? Daring to invade the great land of Brahma. I shall slay you now and offer you as sacrifice to Lord Vishnu. Meanwhile, within the Jagannath temple, Maharaja, now restored to human form and covered in blood, staggered toward the statue of Vishnu. He knelt devoutly, palms pressed together in prayer. Though Brahma boasted billions of devotees, this power of faith was not accessible to all. Only one type could wield it, the most devout ascetic monks. Maharaja was precisely such an ascetic. After murmuring prayers for a long while, a golden radiance indeed shone down from the statue, bathing his body and swiftly healing his wounds. My injuries are healed. Yet my strength remains unchanged. It must be because my ascetic training is insufficient. Maharaja gritted his teeth. With a sudden motion of his left hand, he tore his right arm clean off. Maharaja felt the power within him grow even stronger. No, this is still not enough. Great Lord, grant me more strength so I may vanquish the demons of the foreign lands. Gritting his teeth against the excruciating pain, Maharaja, despite his formidable physique, deliberately twisted both his legs clean off. He didn't use a sword, he snapped them directly. Only this way could he inflict maximum agony, pushing his ascetic discipline to its absolute limit. Finally, he glanced at his remaining left arm, placed it in his mouth, and bit down with all his might. Rip! A tearing sound echoed as bones shattered and muscles snapped one by one. His limbs were finally torn off completely, leaving only his torso. But at that very moment, the Vishnu statue atop the shrine blazed with golden light. A force of utterly pure faith poured over his entire being. Yes! This is it! My asceticism has finally earned divine recognition. Mad laughter echoed from the main hall of the Jagannath temple. Only members of the orthodox Brahma would understand how fortunate he truly was. For countless ascetics spent their entire lives without ever receiving a divine response.